Hello and welcome to lesson number 13. We're done with this unit. We're going to move to the book of Proverbs next, but let's finish the Sermon on the Mount. Surviving the storms. Today's lesson is a very practical, I don't know that you'd call it a parable, but a story that Jesus told, an illustration that he used. Matthew chapter 7, 24 through 29. Here we go. Main idea is we will all face storms in life. Amen to that. Had many. Whether or not we can withstand them depends upon our life's foundation. And the question to explore today is, in my most recent challenge in life, where did I turn for help? I think you turn to the same place in a storm that you have been all along, to the Lord. Um, Good days, bad days, blah days, you always turn to the Lord, and He has direction. So, I want to tell you a little bit of a story. We're going to be talking about two different people who built a house in two different places with two different results. I guess y'all know I go once a month, normally down to Southeast Texas to visit my stepmother. Have a house down there, and she'll be in it to the end of her days. And she was telling me that there's a dude going to build a house back behind our house. Now, we moved there in 1977, and it's on the edge of a swamp. I mean, everything down there is swampy and very low ground. I think it's like 26 or 28 feet above sea level. And there's a railroad track back behind our house, probably about 300 yards, with a bridge. And the water goes under that bridge, goes down a drainage area, eventually, I guess, making its way to the river. But it's swampy. And I tell you, in the summertime, I wouldn't go back there because of snakes. I doubt that swamp has alligators. I've never seen one there, even though I've seen them everywhere else. But snaky, nasty, um, always water. Um, it's a swamp. Well, while I was down there last week, some dude has bought that property, and he had a backhoe back there digging these trenches. And it had just come a big rain, and you couldn't tell where he was digging. The water was so deep. You could see where he had dug dirt out and kind of set it to the side, but the water was so deep back there you couldn't see where the hole was. I was quite surprised that he didn't get the tractor stuck back there. He had two tractors going back there. Terrible place to build a house. My stepmother said that he was going to build one up high out of the water, and just to build a roadway to it would be terrible. He must have bought it for nothing and thinks he can do something with it. He said that he was going to build like a crawfish farm out there. Well, that'd be about the only thing it'd be good for. Not where I'd be building a house, but whatever. Um, and so I guess, the point of the lesson is we're all building a house somewhere. It's not like a physical house, but it's our life. And you need to make sure your foundation is strong and you build it in the right place with the right people, or one day a storm's going to come and it's going to blow it down. So very practical lesson this day. I know you probably heard this story in Vacation Bible School. Little kids still sing a song related to this story. So let's go ahead and look at this. I'm not going to call it a parable because it's not. It's just a story and it's an illustration. But we're all building a house somewhere. Remember, this is the last of the Sermon on the Mount you're going to see here in a moment. All right, so here we go. Therefore, everyone who hears these words of mine and acts on them. It's not just enough to hear it, you got to act on the words of Jesus. If you hear and you act, you may be compared to a wise man who built his house on a rock. All right, rock's not going to move, it's always going to be there. And when the rain fell and the floods came, what happened? Well, the man who built his house on the rock and the winds blew. So notice there is rain, then there's a flood, and then there's the wind, and it slammed against the house. Okay? And yet it did not fall, for it had been founded on the rock. You know, I've always thought about this parable, this story, and it's like I've always, for some reason, seen a riverbed. For both houses that were built, one was built down on the sandbar, and the other was built a little bit higher on a rock. But it doesn't necessarily mean that it's the two houses are being built in the same place. It can be two different places. Same circumstances befall each house, but that doesn't mean that they're both built in the same place, just one on a sandy soil and one on a rock. So, you know, the winds blew, the flood happened, and the water came up, and this house stood because of where it was built. And Jesus said, this is the wise person who builds the house there. So you got a wise person who are listening to the words of Jesus and doing them. Okay, he's the story's not really about two houses and how to build a house. The story is about listening to the words of Jesus and obeying them. Okay, and doing what he says, taking his advice, being faithful to his word. Well, let's keep going. He says, everyone who hears these words of mine and does not act on them, just ignores them, will be like a foolish man who built his house on the sand. Man, sand moves, doesn't it? Grew up down on the coast and sandy loam. And I've got a barn down there, an old barn that's pier and beam. And I'm going to have to go out there this summer and jack that dude up because I've got blocks underneath it where my dad and I built this thing in 1977. And that foundation's moving a lot. And if I don't go jack it up and resituate those blocks underneath, that sucker's going to go down one day. Now, it's just a barn. It's not like the White House or anything out there. But I'd just soon go fix it now. Sandy soil is not a good foundation. It's good for a lot of things. Makes a great garden. No rocks, sandy loam, great. You can grow anything out there. But it's not good for a foundation. And so foundation's kind of important, isn't it? What happens to the foundation happens to the rest of the house. I know most places have foundation problems, certainly in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But he says you're foolish if you build your house on the sand. So we're all building a house. One guy built it on a firm foundation of rock. It's not going to move. The house will be secure. And the other built it in the sand. And both houses from the foundation up are going to experience the same rain, flooding, wind, but they have different foundations underneath them. Okay? It's going to rain on everybody. We're all going to get flooded out one day. The wind's going to blow. Just because you're a Christian doesn't mean you're not going to get some flooding and some wind. Yeah, you're going to get it, But the difference is if you've got a great foundation underneath you, you're going to weather the storm better. Okay, doesn't mean it's going to be easy. Doesn't mean you're going to won't go through stuff, because guess what? You are. So the rain fell and the floods came and the winds blew, just like same exact wording for the guy who built it in the sand. But what happened? And slammed against the house, and it fell. A major disruption, major failure, and it came down. And great was its fall. And you could hear it, you could see it, it was observable. Everybody knew that it went down. And just two different foundations. One withstood the storm, one did not. Well, let's finish this. When Jesus had finished these words, the crowds were amazed at his teaching. Here is a carpenter's son who worked with his hands, speaking in a very profound way, and they were amazed at his teaching. For he was teaching them as one having authority, and not as their scribes. And the scribes were those who took the Old Testament and copied it. And because they did that so much, they felt like they knew the Old Testament better than anyone, even Jesus. But here's a carpenter's son who spoke with authority. And he knew the Old Testament and knew the heart of God. And they were amazed at his teaching. Well, let's size this story up, okay? First thing I put on paper is build your life in a secure location. It makes all the difference. It really does. I want to ask you, what kind of foundation do you have underneath your life? Can you take the wind and the storms that are going to come? It's going to push against the house. The only thing that's going to hold the house up is the foundation. Second truth is, we're all going to face storms in this life. So prepare for them now. It's kind of funny to me, to think about even us as Christians not being prepared for things. I'm thinking about like age. You talk to a person who's 90 years of age and can't drive anymore and is shocked by it. Like, I just couldn't imagine this ever happening to me. Well, dude, if you live long enough, that's what's going to happen. It's happened to everybody else. You think you're different? So prepare for it. Prepare for what's going to happen. Build a firm foundation under your life so that when that time comes, you're ready for it. There's a lot to be said for preparing for things emotionally and spiritually. I think it's God's will for us to do that. Preparation is part of God's will for us. So it may mean accepting limitations, okay? Things that you used to be able to do that you can't do now. It'd be better to, while you're physically and mentally able to do things, to do those things, knowing that one day that you can. And that way, when it happens, you won't resent the Lord or just be mad at the way life is when it comes. So do what you can today to prepare for when that day comes. Live your life. Live it to the fullest. Live it in the glory of the Lord. Okay. Last point is, the Lord will give you direction, and his words are true. And that's really what he's talking about. He's talking about those who obey his words and those who don't. There's a result of not being obedient. It's true. I've seen it over and over again in my life and other people's life. Believe me, I'm not there yet. I'm still trying to figure things out. But there is a result to faithfulness, and it's positive. But the point is, you have a choice to make. You have many choices to make. You can either follow his teachings or not. It's your choice, but just be aware that there's consequences to not being obedient to his word. Well, Jesus ended his sermon and they were amazed. Wouldn't that be a beautiful blessing to be able to sit there and hear Jesus preach? I would love that. Um, One day, I guess we will. So let me pray with you. Jesus, we love you. We love each other. Bless us like only you can. Um, Help us to follow you, to be obedient to your teachings. Help us to build our house on a firm foundation. It's in your name that I pray. Amen. God bless you. You have a great one.